guys, how's it going? So I'm hoping to get a few things done out here this afternoon. I've got some snowdrops to plant as well as some tulips, and I want to get a palm repotted. It's one that actually was sent to us. Anna sent it out from California. I opened it in one of our last mail time videos, and it's just been sitting in its original plastic sack for the last little bit. So I brought some stuff up to repot that and put it inside, and then we might, if we have time, take after some roses and kind of get them trimmed up a little bit for winter. So here are my supplies for this afternoon. I thought that the palm would look really pretty. And this is a garland jardiniere from Unique Stone. This was one of the flower alley containers. And we're going to be using the cactus mix, because it also is for palms, to pot that up in. And then we'll take it inside. These are the bulbs here, the snowdrops, which are really small, and I'm kind of hoping there are 500 of them. I don't have any snowdrops in this garden yet, so this will be a really, really huge treat for us. I'm hoping to just use my shovel to plant these. They only need to go 3 inches down, so if I can just like excavate several areas to 3 inches down and just pack those areas full, I think that'll be the easiest. And then the tulips that I have left to plant, blushing ladies, there are 100 of those. And then these are the leftover ones from our raised bed vegetable garden project from the other day. So I've got like, I don't know, 50-ish left of each one of these, the Avaron and the French Blend Rose. And I'm gonna see how long my bulb tone holds out. That's my last bag that I have on hand. And then we'll just switch over to biotone if I run out. So shovel for the snowdrops, and then I've got a drill and an auger for the tulips. And then these are the roses that we may or may not take after today. So I don't do any major rose pruning in the winter, but for things that are like huge and kind of out of control, I like to trim them back just a little bit. I'll do my final prune in the late winter, early spring, after they have fully gone dormant. But I'll take them up like to this size right here just to take off that top layer and all the spent blooms. And it's late enough now and it's getting cold enough, they're not putting on new growth. So I'm not worried about them pushing new growth after I prune them today. And I actually never do very much in terms of winter care for my roses. I never have, and I know that there are guides out there that tell you all the different things that you can be doing for your roses to help protect them. And we do live in a colder climate. I mean, they've moved us to a zone 6. Prior to that, we've been a zone 5, but typically I just trim mine up a little bit just to clean them up, and then I leave them alone. I come in then in the spring and do my like thinning out process and really cutting them back to the spot I want them cut back to. You know, some people will tell you, especially on hybrid tea roses or grafted roses in colder climates, to mound up the bottom of the plant with like mulch or something like that, just to provide some extra insulation to that graft union, and that helps them get through winter. And then in the spring you remove that, of course, so that, you know, no rotting or anything like that can happen. So basically what I'm saying is don't follow my winter rose care advice. I'm just doing what I've always done, just in the fall and winter time, and my roses typically have done pretty well. Now watch, this year something will happen to them. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the easy thing first and repot this palm and get it inside. So we're not bumping up too much in size here. So if I set that down in, you can kind of see what it looks like. I mean, I could go a little bit smaller than that, but there's quite a number of roots there. And I think it'll be happy in this pot. So I'm gonna put a little layer of soil at the bottom. We'll put the root ball in, and then I'll pack in soil around it.
Like that?
Yeah. I think it looks really good in this corner right here. Typically I have these windows open and it's super bright in this spot. I just closed them because it was kind of hard to see. It was so bright in here. But I've got a little collection started in this corner. Looks like I have room for another one right there, maybe. Need to do a little grooming on my asparagus fern too. All right, project number 1 complete. Okay, next up are the bulbs. I think I want to have the snowdrops somewhere near our back kitchen door because they come up so early and it's so crummy out usually at that time of year and wet and cold that we don't spend a whole lot of time, you know, touring around the garden. So it'd be really nice to have them in a spot that's like really well traveled so that we'll make sure to see them. So I think I'm gonna go over to the other side and we'll plant them along our walkway, maybe. Ah, why did it turn around right there? It's like it could sense me. It must have hit something right here. No? I don't know. Okay, so there's several options in this entryway area. I do have the Vidal white tulips and then Averons right here. Nothing much comes up in here, but I don't think I want to go in with a bunch of bulbs just because I know I'll probably go in with some pansies in the spring. We've got a lavender hedge, which we just cut back. So I could, I don't really have much for spring color on this side. I feel like I have an opportunity at least to do some of the tulips right here. So if I do the tulips here, which will draw some of that spring interest over, which I've been lacking, maybe I can tuck the snowdrops in kind of in this area over here. Because in the spring we do spend quite a lot of time around the fireplace area. So I could put some right in here or, you know, tuck some in around the redbud. It'd be beautiful to have a big drift of snowdrops right there. I'll see what the digging is like right here because I don't have anything else planted and that would be so nice and easy to not have to work around anything. And I think Aaron is gonna come out here at some point. He said he would come out and help me drill some holes if I needed it. So I'll get started on the snowdrops, see how far I can get. So a little update, Aaron had the idea of just tilling up this little spot since we're not dealing with any plants right here and we're really not running into any roots either, not of any significance, like little tiny roots right here. So that's 100 bulbs right there, and I think that's how I'm going to space them, just kind of like little groupings. And I'll swing around the back side of the tree. Then I think I'm gonna kind of taper off a little bit because I thought it would be really beautiful to have some snowdrops coming up in these low containers. And these are those, I think it's called a leaf motif planter or an acorn planter, I can't remember. Honestly, they have acorns and leaves on them. It's from Henry's Studio. But I really loved them right here. Last year I just put moss and pine cones, which I really enjoyed. It was very simple and like pure looking, but I think having the really early color in here will be kind of a treat. So I'm gonna do that first because I wanna make sure I have enough to fill both of the urns. Got this area all done. So there are 500 snowdrops between the two urns, and then they kind of taper out skinnier toward the end here, and there's just a few little bunches behind the bench. And then they get a little bit thicker as they go behind the redbud tree, and then they kind of taper again right here. I did have room, since I didn't have enough to do them really thick behind the bench, to tuck in some of those extra tulips. So right back here, like in a drift that kind of goes like this and ends right here, there are 60 French blend rose tulips. So we'll have the snowdrop color really early, and then the tulip color will follow later. We also did put a layer of mulch down on top of this whole area because there were some spots where we just couldn't get quite even the 3 inches deep. So we planted them as low as I could get them down in the soil, and then we just topped the whole thing up with mulch so that all of them are buried properly. And I will come through with the hose here in just a little bit and water them all in. But we will lose light, I think, if I attempt to plant any more tulips, and I really want to tackle some of these roses. I don't even think I have enough time to get those roses all the way done. That's the one bummer part about fall. Like, I always love having a little bit of a break, but we don't have light for as long. Makes it a little bit harder to get as much done during the day. But let's go over here and scope out this project. So most of these roses are icebergs, and I think that they were meant to be shrub iceberg roses. Hey, Cheddar. But I noticed on a few of the tags they have the word CL.iceberg, which means climbing iceberg. So they just get out of control huge. So anyway, today I'm just gonna go in and kind of shape them up a bit. And there's a whole bunch in here, so we'll see how far I can get. I am really glad we got that done. Almost done. I just have to pick up the piles of stuff. I've got 3 piles out here, a bunch of leaves to clean up, but not bad. And the roses just look so much more tame and less mangy, and they'll be so much more manageable in the spring. And the sun is gonna wanna go down here in just a few minutes. So what I'll do in the spring is I'll come back in and cut these back by about half again. Usually about like right above my knee is my measuring gauge. And then I thin them out to where I just keep the strongest canes, and we start with kind of more of a fresh plant. By that time, a lot of these leaves will be gone, and I'll remove anything that might still be there in terms of leaves. And who knows, we may just decide to dig these out. Every time I prune them, I think, why do I keep these here? I didn't plant them. One, they were here when we moved in, and they are not the proper plant for the proper space. I mean, had they been actual shrub roses, they would have been completely fine. But climbers in like this big of an area, it just doesn't work. We're constantly pruning on them all season long, and then they get these great big arching canes, and then the blooms are on the end, so you don't really want to cut them because you want to see the blooms. So we're always kind of like caught in between, and I think I would make Aaron very happy if I just said, let's dig them out, do something else. Which honestly, I'm not super happy with like the area right in front of the gazebo. I really want to rework the whole edging, like the whole shape of those beds. So it might be a good time, like when we decide to dig these out, just to kind of redo this whole area. But unlike Aaron, I do not like to have a ton of projects going on in terms of like a mess and holes in the garden. So my MO has always been like, let's just tackle 2 or 3 areas at a time. That's all I can really handle in terms of like destruction. And then when we're actually ready to tackle this, then we'll dig them out. So I tend to like live with things for longer than maybe I should, because I'm not quite there and not quite ready to take them out because I've got too many other things going on. So who knows, we might have these here for another year or another 2 years. In the meantime, I'm just happy that it's done for the fall. Again, like probably not proper to come in and cut your roses back. I mean, these are huge, and I feel like there's no amount of frost is gonna make it all the way down those canes to damage anything underneath, and they're not gonna push any new growth because of our temperatures now. So usually in the fall, this is what I do. Tends to work out pretty well. We probably will come in with leaf mulch because, as you can see on the grass, there's tons of leaves. So there's a lot more yet to mow up, and the mulch is fairly thin in this area. So we'll probably come in and do that. When we do leaf mulch, like, I mean, you might wonder why we don't just let the leaves fall off the roses and stay there. It's just really not a good idea if you've dealt with any kind of powdery mildew or black spot or anything like that. Which powdery mildew, I did notice some remnants on a couple of the leaves just because it's so thick in the center. Typically we don't deal with any diseases like that here, but you just don't want to perpetuate that. So don't save any leaves that have had any kind of issue. You want to use good, clean, healthy leaves as leaf mulch in your flower beds, and that way it's actually enriching the soil and not prolonging a problem that that you've been, you know, wanting to get rid of. So anyway, that is it for today's video, today's projects. It's a really beautiful day out here. Like, I feel like it's a perfect night to have a fire. Maybe we'll come out here and do that in the fireplace out here. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we will see you in the next one. Bye. You want to go on a ride with me? Cheddar doesn't even care. Do you want to hop off, buddy? You can hop off if you want to. Alright, you snooze, you lose.